Okay. Make sure I've got everything. Need some salt, baking soda. Okay, so today I'm prepping some all bran muffins with buttermilk. I have a lot of buttermilk left, and this recipe uses 2 cups of buttermilk, so I really wanted to use it up before it goes bad. This is a great recipe, excuse me, great recipe for that. So one thing, when you're making all bran muffins, you gotta use the original. They have like the berries, they have the flakes. To get the best results, absolutely use the all bran original ones. So I have that already right here. And it calls for 2 cups. So we're gonna put 2 cups in here. And then next is you want to have 1 cup of boiling water. So this is boiling, it's very, very hot. We're gonna add this to the all bran cereal. And what's gonna happen is the cereal is going to soften. And you'll see it's really nice. So I've got this. Just gonna use a fork, nothing fancy. And we're gonna mix it together. And it's going to absorb the water, soften, and then be usable for our muffins. So one thing I really, really like about all bran muffins is the fact that they freeze really well. They last quite a long time. You can keep them at room temperature. You can store them in the fridge if you want them to last a little longer, and you can freeze them. Pull them out in the morning, have one thawed, have it for breakfast. My kids love them. Honestly, they're something that they actually like to eat after school. So here we've got this, okay? So we're gonna let this bran sit. It's gonna absorb all the liquid like I had mentioned. The best thing, like these are the best bran muffins I've ever had, obviously. And they're so good because the crumb is just really soft and tender. It's sweet. You're getting a lot of fiber, and we're using whole wheat flour. So as you can see, I have some of Bob's Red Mill, not sponsored or anything, but I really like their whole wheat flour. So we're gonna use that as well. If you don't have whole wheat flour, you can definitely use a mixture of like all-purpose flour. You can use some whole wheat flour. You can kind of just use what you have on hand. Okay, so for those just catching up and hopping on, we've got all bran cereal. Use the original, not the berries, not the flakes. It turns out so much better this way. Okay, so we have to have this in one bowl, and then next we're going to mix together like the wet ingredients and the sugar. So I have a bowl right here, and then I have this for my buttermilk. And what I'm actually gonna do is I'm actually gonna do my buttermilk part first. So if you have a lot of buttermilk, which I do, this is a great recipe to use it up. We're gonna use 2 cups of buttermilk. So we're adding it to a large liquid measuring cup. So 2 cups worth, let's see. Got it, okay. Now we're going to add some baking soda, and we wanna get that reaction. We're gonna use 2.5 teaspoons. The key with this, you really want to make sure you have like up-to-date, what am I looking for? Up-to-date baking soda. You don't want it to be expired because then it's not gonna get the reaction that we're looking for. So 2.5 teaspoons, add that to the buttermilk. And I am not eyeballing this because I want it to be exact. Okay, putting the baking soda to the side. I'm just gonna mix with a fork. I feel like I do a lot of things with a fork in the kitchen. So mix that together. And then we're gonna wait a few minutes and get that reaction and all the bubbles and stuff happening. So let me put that right here. Now, let's move on to the other part. We're gonna move on to the sugar. This recipe is very, very, very forgiving when it comes to sugar because It calls for 1.5 cups brown sugar. Now this will make a really sweet bran muffin. You can lower that. Lower it to a cup, lower it to 3/4 cup. I haven't gone as low as 1/2 cup. I don't know what that's gonna produce, right? But if you are really limiting your sugar, try 1/2 cup and maybe it'll be fine. I don't know. Let me know how it goes if you do. So we're going to add brown sugar. I'm probably gonna do just a little bit shy of 1.5 cups because, my kids don't need that much sugar, right? I forgot my 1/2 cup, let me go grab it. All right, so just a little less than 1.5 cups. I've got my brown sugar in this little container. Love it so much. There we go. Adding that to the mix. Then we're gonna add some eggs. Also, just so you know, look at how fast our buttermilk is growing. I've gotta hurry. So we're adding 2 eggs to the sugar. Now we're gonna add some vegetable oil. So if you do not want to use vegetable oil, that's totally fine. You can easily swap out some applesauce. That would be really good. You could do unsweetened. You could even do like a cinnamon applesauce. That would be delicious. Just have that like hint of cinnamon. So I'm gonna add 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. There. And then a teaspoon. Let's see, I don't have enough space right here, do I? Everything's in the way. Sorry, you can't even see. All right, so it's just going in this bowl. Yum. Simple vanilla. I'm gonna eyeball this. I love vanilla, so we're gonna do a teaspoon, maybe a little bit more is totally fine. And now we're just going to whisk it or use a fork. We're gonna mix that all together. So we got it, sugar, brown sugar, got 2 eggs, got some vegetable oil. That's gonna help the crumb be really, really soft and moist. And then some vanilla. All right, let's move on. We've got our buttermilk. It's used to be at 2 cup line. Now it's about the 4 cup line just because we've had the reaction with the baking soda, which is fantastic. We've got our all bran mixture. Again, just to remind you, when we're making bran muffins, we like to use the original, not the berries or the flakes. It just turns out better this way. And we're gonna add, I gotta read my notes because I can't even remember. Yeah, we're gonna add the buttermilk to the bran mixture. Okay. Let's see. All right. If you have any questions, by the way, go ahead and ask them in the comments and I will try and get to them. But in the meantime, let's look at our bran. Look at it's nice and mushy. The cereal has absorbed that nice hot water. So now it's gonna create a really good base for our muffins. So let's add that real quick. We got the buttermilk. Perfect. We're just gonna mix that. Let me see if I can adjust this for you. Make it a little bit better. Okay, there we go. For those just joining, we are making some all bran muffins. Perfect to do on a Monday. We can have it for the rest of the week with your breakfast, for a snack, lunch, whatever you like. So we're just mixing it all together. This is buttermilk and the bran cereal. Now, if you want to see some more recipes, I share all of my recipes at saltandbaker.com. Lots to choose from. Breakfasts, muffins, cupcakes. I feel like I have a ton of desserts. My specialty is probably cookies, and I do have quite a few cakes. So if you want to check those out. Dinners also are ones that I have to make very often. My kids can be fairly picky eaters, but you know what? They have eaten all of the recipes on my website so well. So If you're looking for something, go check that out. Okay, so now we have that here. We have the buttermilk, we have the cereal. Now we're gonna add the sugar and the egg mixture into this, all right? I'm gonna pour it in. Beautiful. Okay. It's still really foamy. We've got the reaction from the buttermilk and the baking soda. It is working overtime. So we're just gonna mix it. I'm using a spatula. You can use whatever you want. But the spatula kind of helps everything get cleared from the sides. All right, smells good. Okay, now we're gonna add the flour, and we need some salt because we need to offset some of the sweetness. So next we're going to add, let's see, 2.5 cups of whole wheat flour, and then 1.5 teaspoons, yep, 1.5 teaspoons of salt. So I'm using Bob's Red Mill, love it, not sponsored or anything. I just think they have great whole wheat flour. Again, if you don't have whole wheat flour, you can substitute for like all-purpose. Granted, it's not gonna have like that health factor, and I love there's just the slight texture that whole wheat flour offers. All right, now you probably should not scoop from the bag like I just did, but that's what we have. I don't have any more fancy plastic containers for my whole wheat flour. So let's add this. So I've got 1, 2, and half. If you have any questions or if you have any like recipe requests, please feel free to comment them. Yeah, and I am always looking for more ideas or things that people want to see so that I can post them on my website. This full recipe is on saltandbaker.com under all brand muffins. Perfect way to use up extra buttermilk. We had some laying on hand and that needed to be used before it went bad, so this is what we are using. Now, okay, 1.5 teaspoons of some salt. I'm just gonna add that right on top of the whole wheat flour. Perfect. Got it here. Now we're gonna combine it. Gonna kind of mix the top part first, get the salt incorporated into the whole wheat flour. And then let's just fold it. Now, if you like raisins, you can definitely add raisins to this batter. That would be delicious. I've had these muffins with raisins. My kids don't love it, I'll admit, but it is good. So you can add some raisins if you would like. I'm not going to this time, but you can see we're just mixing it. You can find this full recipe on saltandbaker.com. I have so many other recipes you can look at. There's dinners, there's appetizers, there's snacks, there's holiday stuff, desserts for any occasion, really. I feel like my specialty is cookies and cakes. Really, I just have a dessert for like everything. So make sure to check it out if you haven't already. This recipe is the all brand muffins with buttermilk. We're using up a lot of buttermilk today. And I also wanted like a really quick, easy breakfast or go-to snack that my kids can just grab. So here we go. We've got the muffin batter all mixed up. Here's the tricky part. Now, usually I like to cover this and I like to put it in my fridge and let it rest for like 12 hours or something. You can bake it right away. I'm not going to, I'm gonna let it sit. But when we do come to baking it, we're gonna get just a regular muffin tin. You're gonna spray it because when you use the paper cups for the muffins, I feel like sometimes it can stick. And I honestly just don't wanna be super wasteful in that regard, so I just find it easier to spray a muffin tin, scoop the batter into the muffin tin, and then we're gonna bake it. It'll go for 400 degrees and we're gonna bake it for about 15 minutes. They're gonna rise and be so beautiful and soft. So yeah, this point in time, we're gonna let it rest. This is awesome if you wanna make it the night before, right? So you can make it the night before, let it rest, pull it out of the fridge, and then bake them in the morning, especially if you're doing like a family reunion or a gathering. Perfect recipe for this, okay? If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. So many delicious recipes on saltandbaker.com. What should I do for my next live? Is there a recipe you guys request? You should message me. You can follow me on Instagram, or there's Facebook and there's TikTok. All the places. You can even leave a comment here on YouTube and tell me which recipe you'd like me to make live. This one, obviously, I didn't consider. Maybe I'll pop back on in a little bit when I do bake them. I'm gonna bake them in about a couple hours, and then I can show you those results. They're really nice and fluffy. And again, go and check out saltandbaker.com for all your recipe needs. Thanks you guys for tuning in.